as I said earlier, and if you're joining us later, Chris and I began to look at what was happening in the puppy exercise world and be concerned that people had really lost the ability to exercise their puppies in a way that we thought was proper. And it may just be, we have trouble exercising our children today and exercising ourselves. We're really not sure what to do. But we've seen these two sides. There are people that are over-exercising their puppies. And what are some of the big issues in over-exercising puppies? Weave poles, contacts, and jumping too high. Those are big issues with growing young puppies. But suddenly there's also been this movement of not exercising puppies and taking 6-month-old golden retrievers and limiting their walks to 100 feet, which is insanity for a large active dog. And so we went back to the literature and we looked at the literature on horses and dogs and human beings and started asking the question, what is it that is going to make a good exercise program for puppies? And so these are the guidelines that we have created, and they'll be available for free on the website. You'll be able to download them, and hopefully we'll be able to get some posters printed if you want to actually have a poster or send it home with your puppy buyers, or give it to if you're a trainer, give it to your classes. So we broke it down into the kinds of exercises that we think are really important. So that's going to be balance and proprioception, skill training, flexibility and stretching, strength training, and that's core, rear, and front, endurance training, and what we call good for the soul, which are those wonderful exercises where we spend time with our dogs. And the good for the soul are good for their souls, they're good for our souls, and they're good for us together. So we're really big on these. And we began to ask the question, when should each of these start in puppies? So I'm going to try and see if I can expand my screen so you can get a little bit more information. And note that the early sensitive period, so these are the various periods in puppies. We have early sensitive period from 3 to 7 weeks, late sensitive period from 8 to 16 weeks, juvenile period, which is 17 weeks to 6 months, adolescence then, which starts at 6 months in most dogs and most breeds and continues until their growth plates close. And you'll see the little asterisk there, because when dogs' growth plate close depend upon whether they are intact, spayed, or neutered. And then we cover young adulthood, which is just after growth plate closure, and now we have an adult body, but a young adult body, and how do we go about exercising that? One of the things that we asked ourselves is why this sudden concern about growth plate closures. And certainly there are growth plate injuries, but let's ask ourselves when human beings' growth plates close. And those close 13 to 15 years in girls and 15 to 17 years in boys. So we should be as concerned about our children's growth plates closing as our dog's growth plate closing, and yet our children play sports and they play outside and they do all kinds of activities. Why is that? Because it's really, really good for them, and it's essential to set a lifetime foundation in your dog. And that foundation, so what are the kinds of things that exercise benefits? It's going to develop bones, joints, ligaments, everything that goes together to build the body, to build the dog's body and develop its proprioception. So Chris talked about how dogs need to know where their body is in space, and they need to know how to balance. Well, early exercise is what sets the neurological system in play early in the puppy's life, and that starts at 3 weeks of age. By 3 weeks of age, we need to be challenging their balance and proprioception. We also, exercise enables puppies and young adults to maintain a healthy weight, which is essential today when 50% of dogs are overweight or obese. It also enables them to learn better, and it gives them more confidence. And confident puppies are something that we really want. So this exercise program builds into all of these things, from bones and joints to brains and nervous system to self-confidence in situations and the ability to learn. So we asked ourselves, if we're worried about puppies exercising, how much do kids need? And Chris went back to the World Health Organization guidelines, and those guidelines say that for toddlers should be getting somewhere around 2 to 3 hours of active exercise a day. And by 6 years of age, children should be getting at least an hour of vigorous intensity aerobic exercise a day. This is 10 years before growth plates close. This is when puppies, so if we look at the puppy equivalent, this is when puppies should be very, very active in their lives. So how do we reduce the risk of growth plate injuries while still exercising our puppies? We go back to what Chris was talking about before with concussive and repetitive exercises. So you'll see across the board, we're saying no repetitive concussive exercises until none in the early sensitive period, none in the late, none in the juvenile, none in adolescence. That means no weed pull training, no endurance training in adolescence. And it isn't until young adulthood and the growth plates have closed that we can do those things. But in the meantime, all of these other exercises are open to our puppies, and we should begin as early as 3 weeks introducing proprioception activities to them. So that's going to be playing on a variety of surfaces, playing on things that go up and down. Now with 3-week-old puppies, they only have to go up and down a little, and we do that by putting towels under the bedding in the whelping box, playing in bottle pools, adventure boxes. All of those things will be helpful to them. And at 5 weeks, 5.5 weeks, we should start taking them on adventure walks. And we should get them outside at that point in safe places for 5 to 15 minutes. That's a fair amount of time for a 5.5-week-old puppy, but the vast majority of them can handle it quite well. That gets longer, so you're going to be doing longer adventure walks as the puppy ages between 7 weeks and 16 weeks. Now you're at 15 to 30 minutes, still not doing any endurance work, still not doing any repetitive concussive exercises, but now you're starting to introduce stretching and flexibility to the puppy and lots and lots and lots of balance and proprioception. And this works its way through each of the stages of puppy development until by the time your puppy's in adolescence, you're doing hour-long loose leash or off leash walks with them over varied terrain. And the research from Scandinavia has been pretty clear that off leash exercise over moderate terrain, so that's hills and dales and things like that, will reduce orthopedic injuries significantly, will reduce hip dysplasia, will reduce elbow dysplasia. The less we do, the more we increase those risks with our puppies. This will be available on our website for download for free. You just, Nicole put the link in again, and you can go and get it. Share it with everybody you know. We really want to make this available to puppies around the world and to both breeders and puppy owners. And then if and when we get the posters, when we get the posters printed, we will let you know, and they'll be available. They'll be available for a nominal fee if you want the actual poster to hang on a counter, hang on a cabinet or a refrigerator.
I think it's perfect size for a refrigerator.
I think so too. That was sort of what we made it to be, and if you fold it, you can focus on the period that your puppy's in. So you just have to look at whichever week or month your puppy is in, and you should be able to figure out what you should be doing with them. Chris, did you want to add anything? Oh, I do want to say something about on-leash walks. So we get that question a lot. How long should we walk our puppies on leash? And I think we need to make sure that we understand that on-leash walks on short leashes really are not exercise for dogs. They are training for dogs. What is exercise for dogs is loose leashes where puppies are able to change their pace. They're able to explore as they want. They're able to run a little, trot a little, stop, flop down. That's a key part of puppy development. And so say you live in a city where you can't take your puppy off leash, and I totally recognize that a lot of people are in that situation. You're going to go looking for places where there's varied footings, there's varied terrain. So your puppy's going to go from the sidewalk, down a curb, cross the street, up the curb, across the grass, onto a gravel pathway. All of those changes are stimulating to the puppy and will benefit the puppy. So you're going to teach polite on-leash walking, where you can have a short leash or short leash, and the puppy will walk with you, and you're going to think of that as training. And then you're going to look for these longer off-leash, loose leash walking experiences for exercise for your puppy.